What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Damn Fishing Addict video. This will be your Wednesday tip, tricks, and techniques video. On this video, we are going to show you how to repair a loose rod seat. This is Caleb's Meathunter MHR limited edition, and as you can tell, the rod seat is completely loose. You can sit here and spin it all the way around. I know this is a problem I've had with a couple of my MHRs. We've had a few other people complain that it's happened to their MHRs. Now you can send this back to Meathunter and they will fix it, I'm sure. But then you're out that time. You have to ship it back. You have to wait for them to ship it. I know they're very busy right now. So we're going to show you how to fix it on your own. It's not hard. So let's get inside and I'll show you how to fix this up. Alright guys, so here's a few of the tools you're going to need to repair this. You won't need all of these. They're just some that I thought might help make it easier. If you don't have them, it's not a big deal. You can find other things, and as we go through this, I'll tell you if there's something else you could use. But what I have is some scissors, some electrical tape, a couple of picks that will help pull the paracord. Of course, I've got my 5-minute epoxy. I've got some braided line that we'll use to help with the paracord. And I've got this little file. This is out of my taxidermy shop. I use it for working on deer and things like that. But if you don't have one of these, a dowel rod with some heavy sandpaper or something like that will work. And I'll show you what we're going to use that for as we get there. Also, you're going to need a paper plate. And if you're like me and you're working on your wife's dinner table, you might want to put some plastic or something like that down so you don't end up in the doghouse. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to start from the top of the rod, because the rods taper big to little as they go up, obviously. So it's going to be easier to slide this way than try and go down. So you're going to start from the top. There's the eye. So we're at the top of the rod seat. And you're going to find where the paracord tucks underneath. And it's whenever you find that, I'm going to just use a little pick and see if we can't just pull that out. There we go. We were able to just pull that out. Now you're just going to unwrap your paracord all the way down. Now I would save your paracord if you plan to reuse the same colors. You can also go to like Hobby Lobby or something and you can get other paracord and you can change the color if you would like. That's totally up to you. If you were going to do that, this would obviously be the time to do it. I'm going to go ahead and leave this tape on here that they use. Now that we have it to this point, we're going to grab our rod seat and just slide it up. There's a little O-ring right here. We'll move up, and now we'll slide our rod seat right up. And see here, you can see the glue and everything and how it's broke loose. So now what we're going to do is I forgot one thing. We're going to need a pocket knife. Okay, got my pocket knife. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to scrape this old glue off. Now you want to be careful, and you don't want to go down into your fiberglass. You don't want to be digging and gouging down in there. You just want to get the glue off the surface. If you start digging and gouging down into this fiberglass, you're going to create a weak spot where it's potential for it to break. So you don't want to do that. You just want to keep your knife kind of flat and just go through here and get all of that glue off. This little knife might not have been the ticket. I might need to get a better one. Alright, well, I'm going to sit here and work on this glue. There's no need for me to make you sit here and watch me do this all. So I'm going to work on getting this glue off, and I'll come back once I got it off and we'll go to the next step. Alright guys, well, as you can see, got into my tape a little bit, but we got all the glue off. Didn't go down into the rod, didn't dig down. We just kept our knife flat and just scraped off all that glue. And it being this texture right here and everything, that's fine. That's what you want. You don't want it to be completely glass smooth. Don't take a sander to it or nothing like that and try and sand it all off, because your glue's going to need something to bite to. If you just put glue on a slick, sanded off surface, you're probably going to end up with the same thing happening again pretty soon. So anyway, we're to this point. We got the glue off. Now what I'm going to do is I like to slide this rod seat back down here. And as you can see, it's pretty loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some electrical tape, and you don't have to do this. This is just going to help out a little bit. And I'm going to come up just a little bit, as you can see, and I'm going to bring this electrical tape around it. I'm going to go around just a couple of times. Oops. And now I'm going to bring this down here. It's a little better. Come around, maybe go 2 more times. And this is going to be probably the most time consuming part, is if you want to do this part. It's just going to make your rod seat a little bit tighter. See, now we're too far. It's just getting this right. Again, this isn't something you have to do. This is something I chose to do to make it, like I said, a little bit tighter. Oh, dog. That old thing's getting dull. Right there. See how that just slides right over it? Once we put the glue on that, that'll really slide better. You see that rod seat's already tighter now. So we'll go through, and I'm going to put probably one in the middle and one up front of the glue. We'll put 3 points of contact. At the top. Once I get this done, we'll go next step. So that's where this work. Okay, now as you can see, this is super tight now. This thing will be nice and tight going on there. Once we get the glue on there, you don't want it too tight that it's really, really hard to push on here, but you want it to have some friction. You definitely don't want it to just slide right over. Once we put the glue on, it'll slide a lot easier. So that's that part of it. Now we're just gonna have to mix up our glue. I'm just going to use a little paper plate here. Grab our 5-minute epoxy. The epoxy doesn't matter. I know there's some better ones and there's some not so good ones. I just literally went to the Dollar General and picked this up. It's what they had. It'll work. I've used this stuff in taxidermy work and everything else. It's good glue. Alright. We'll set that off to the side. Mix up our epoxy. Now we're going to coat this whole thing as best we can. Sorry about the ticking in the background. Apparently my daughter's rat is dying of thirst and feels the need to try and drink his entire water bottle at this point while I'm videoing. We used to raise snakes, pythons and stuff, and I got into raising my own rats to feed the snakes because it was cheaper. And of course, when you have kids and you have baby animals, they immediately claim them And this was a rat that was supposed to be a feeder rat, but my daughter claimed it, and now we've had this thing, I think we're going on almost 2 years. I didn't know rats live that long. Alright, so now we got that nice and covered. Unfortunately, this is the back O-ring. I kind of cut it whenever I was scraping the glue, but I think we'll be able to put it back on, and we'll get some epoxy on it, and it should glue right up to the end again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to align my guide to the top. I'm going to put my guide up top. I know you can't see that on camera, but my guide is now facing up. And I'm going to take and align my rod handle facing up, and I'm going to go ahead and slide this right on down. And you want to take your time. Yep, see that O-ring went ahead and popped off, so we won't worry about that. This glue, you don't necessarily need it. Alright, now what I'm going to do, unfortunately, is again, you're not going to be able to see it on camera because this is such a big, this is a 12-foot rod. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look from the butt of the rod here, looking straight down, and I'm going to line the handle up, the top of the handle here, these 2 points right here where your reel attaches. I'm going to align those up, center them up with the eye right here. We're going to have this straight up, and we're going to align these straight up with it. That way everything's nice and in alignment. Alright, perfect. Alright, it's nice and aligned now with the eye. So we'll give that time to set. Obviously we can go ahead and continue on while that sets because all the glue's under here. There's a little bit of residual glue there. If you wanted to take a paper towel or something and wipe it off so that you don't get it all over your hands, you can. There we go. Alright, so now we have it glued up. Now to put your paracord back on. Now this is a time if you wanted to change colors, anything like that, this would be the time to do it. You can get paracord online, many different places. Hobby Lobby has a lot of different selection. So if you wanted to change color, this would be the time to do it. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put the paracord back on that you took off. Make sure you don't have no knots in it. Get it all straightened out here. Alright, now the first thing you're going to do to lay your paracord is about 1 inch of paracord. You're going to lay it down like that. And you could even take a little electrical tape if you wanted a little help holding it down. Take just 1 wrap of electrical tape around it. Just like that. Now, we're just going to start wrapping. Holding it tight. And we're going to start wrapping our paracord around. You want to make sure you get that when you come back across, you want to immediately jump back over it. That way it holds it down and your little bump is up down there. Now we're just going to continue wrap. All the way back to the other end. So we're going to have paracord. Well, not going to have paracord, because I fold it around there. So I'm going to fast forward to that point, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we're getting pretty close to the top, as you can see here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our braided line now. Going to cut us off a nice little strip of it, nice little length of it, probably, 8, 10 inches, 12 inches, doesn't matter. Length does not matter at all. Now this is 80-pound braid. You're going to want something strong because you're going to be pulling the paracord back through itself with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay our paracord, or our braid, underneath our paracord just like that. And now we're going to go ahead and continue. We want to make sure this is on the bottom. As you can see, we're on the bottom again. It's a very important point there. If you want your lump where the paracord goes under on the bottom, you need to make sure that's aligned right. Now what we're going to do is take our paracord and wrap over that line. Now continue wrapping again. And you want to do this pretty close to the top, probably 4 to 5 wraps from the top. Alright, as you can see, that was about 4. I'm not going to be able to make it back around again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my paracord and I'm going to stick it through that loop. Just like that. Now I'm going to hold this right here. And you may need pliers, you may need some other way, you may not be able to do this by hand. I probably should have wrapped it, honestly. I probably should have brought this down here a little further. But this is still going to work. Okay. Oops. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab this. Then you got to pull it under. You may have to wrap it around something. Like I said, you may need a pair of pliers, because you're going to need something to get some leverage on it. It's not going to just slide underneath there. It's going. If I can just keep it on my little deal, I should have grabbed some pliers or something. Usually I use pliers, but I didn't think about it. All right. There we go. You sit here and work your paracord into place. Get it all nice and tight. Cut that off kind of close. You can melt the end of that off. If you have a little bit of epoxy left, which this stuff, yeah, it's pretty much already kicked. But you could take some epoxy, run some epoxy on it. And there you go. Now you could go through and clean this up. Like I said, I should have brought my line more down here and ran it down through a little bit further. But this will all clean up. Slide our little O-ring back down. Put some epoxy on it. I'll glue it back down. And there you go. This rod is now fixed. This handle is not turning at all. It's nice and solid, should last forever. Shouldn't have no more issues with it. But that's how you repair one. It's not real hard. It'll save you time from shipping it back to him. Like I said, if you ship it back to Meathunter, or you call Charles or any of the guys at Meathunter, I'm sure they'll fix it for you if you send it to them. I don't see why they wouldn't. They're usually really good about that. But you're going to be out that time while you ship it in, wait for it to be fixed, and then get it back. This way, I mean, you can see that took maybe 30 minutes. Once we edit this video down, that probably took 30 minutes. And you're fixed and you're good to go. By the time I make it back to the dam or wherever I'm going snagging, that 5-minute epoxy is going to set up and be fine, and we'll be ready to fish again. So I hope this helps you if you're having trouble, and this will help you fix it. Again, you could do the same thing to change the paracord. Do you guys want to see a video on completely redoing a rod and putting new paracord and new everything on it? Let me know. We may do something like that. But again, like I said, I hope that helps y'all. I hope y'all have a great day. I hope y'all have a great rest of the week, and hopefully next time we'll see you at the dam.